All right. And you got my favorite.
Thank you, Liz Riley. That's a first for her in this space, and hopefully we will see her again. This next fellow is just a delicious soul and a dear friend of ours. Oh God, a long time now. Dennis Agostini. And he's got some wonderful things to share about some souls that we know. Come on, Dennis.
Thank you, Hayden. Hi, I'm Dennis. It's so nice to be here. It's a special day for me for two different reasons. Yesterday, June 2nd, 6 years ago, I lost the love of my life, who took on another mission. There's two people in this room who knew who she was, Robert and Hayden. And I'd like to read a few love poems from this book, but before I do that, Father Robert Phelps wrote this for me, and I thought I lost it. I found it under my bed, believe it or not. Incredible. And it's called Dedicated to the Memory of Carolyn Falk. Many years ago, I heard Eric Sadie's haunting geometric number 1, long before I knew its name. It has plowed in the way of my cillian of my memory. Today, I don't hear this music often. It's forever there, forever tranquil. Forever present. Some souls I have known have themselves had a haunted melody, and sitting in a corner could irradiate a room with music. Some had the grace that allowed the sun to flow through heavy curtains. Some people that I hardly knew carried with them this melody, silent, but like the tranquility of Sadie's piano. It's still recognized in the ears of my soul. Father Robert Phelps. And I wrote these poems over the years. Like I say, yesterday was 6 years since her passing. And this is called July, a warm summer's night. Hold your breath or the night will steal it. Not a bird in sight. Violets fill the air. I'm returning from the Florida Library, walking on Grand Street in Warwick, beneath globe-shaped green trees, with sweet sense of summer that reminds me of a little boy at Mom's side. From a long view down Grand Street, Carolyn walking towards me. Hello, my love, where have you been? I was lost in the mist of moonlight. Come to me, my love, I'll hold you in my arms tightly and kiss you under that tall oak. Entwined in each other's soul, never to unwind. Warm July night, no one's in sight. We own Grand Street with tall green trees waving at us. Then we walk to the bright moonlight, beckoning us to enter. Disappearing from Grand Street, I woke at 6 a.m., telling myself this dream was real. Nothing could ever steal it from my heart. And this next little poem is called Striking Gold. Every once in a while we strike gold. It's not too often we find that smiling, shining smile that glimmers in sunlight. When we lose this precious gem, we dig again. But most of the time, we come up empty-handed. At times, there are bits and pieces of gold that dull in the sunlight. Then, one day, I struck gold, a large piece of this gem. It glimmered in the moon, in the sunlight, larger than the moon, eyes like stars. I named this precious gem Carolyn. She shined in my heart for all to see. And one short one, what real love feels like. Not very often in our life's journey do you cross paths with someone special. It's like your souls have met before. One time, surprisingly on a cold February day, I looked into the warmth of her eyes. They sparkled as if she looked right through me. I knew that I had finally found what I have looking for all my life. Now I can tell what real love feels like. I'm grateful that I experienced this treasure of love. Felt like the universe was mine. At this moment, I still feel her sparkling eyes piercing my heart. Will the experience ever light my path again? If it does, she will be back in my life to enjoy the love that started in February. And I have one more last poem. This is called Pine Island Park, 2017. I sit upon this park bench like a king on his throne, feeling too much loneliness in being alone. How many tears does it take to wash this pain away? 1,000 or two? I see your face smiling down at me, and my pain still won't loosen. Grant me strength, O God, to move ahead. My journey continues, pain won't pin me down. Life is too short for Caroline not to be around. Go, my love, sail into the blue. Remember someday, I'll be behind you. One last one. Monroe Lake. Dance for me, green, purple in the room, a summer afternoon. A water sprinkler off in the distance. A tree-lined sidewalk casting shade. Until branches move with summer's breeze, let sunshine guide our way. We're so happy with geese chasing after leftover lunch. I have a hunch this moment will never cease. A tear from my heart's eye shines, reflecting off you. How can I ever explain to another the happiness that we shared? Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. He was talking about Carolyn Falk, psychologist, one of the most extraordinary. How can I explain this? You found yourself in her presence, and there was no gravity. You talk about a listener. This gal could listen. And we were all blessed to know her. I've said this story ad nauseum. She had a basset hound named Bailey. And as you were a virgin, and Liz was a virgin in the circle, and our typical hazing, we would have someone read, and Bailey inevitably would fall asleep and start to snore. And the reader, unbeknownst, would be hearing. It was a hoot and a half. And we did everything in our power not to spoil the shock and the freak out of the initiate. And then finally we would, and that was the greatest hazing of all.